Sin.
Hi.
Hi, Ivan. Ivan is here, right?
Hi.
Hi, let me introduce you to Prof. Made Dr. Chandra. Dr. Chandra, this is Dr. Ivan, Miss Wansin.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
Hi,
thank
good.
you very much.
Good.
Thank you very much, Wansin and Dr. Ivan. Dr. Ivan, I got to know that you know Dr. Zaidi quite well, I think. UTM Excite.
Yeah. I know Dr. Zaidi through Brian. Brian,
Okay.
which is one of the co-founder for Project Kappa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I shared the poster, they said, hey, Dr. Ivan is there. I said, okay. So there will be some viewers who will be from besides UM. They will be joining us also. So again, thank you very much, Dr. Ivan and Wansin. Thank you very much. And Ping, I think now it's your time to show that what students are capable of. You know, not only just being in a class learning, but you can also moderate events which are viewed by many people. All right.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be viewing from the other side. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivan.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Right now it's 3 o'clock and we shall start our webinar soon. So once again, welcome. I'm your moderator for today. My name is Jok Ping. You may call me Ping. I'm the member of Enactus UUM. So this is our second series of webinar, #When Youth Speaks. Today we'll be talking about educating the younger generation. And we are so honored to have our panel here. Ms. Wansin, would you like to say hi to the audience?
Hi, Wansin here.
Hi, Ms. Wansin, and also Dr. Ivan.
Hi, I'm Ivan from the University of Southampton, Malaysia. Nice to meet you all.
Hi. So if you're here with us already, please drop a hi in the comment box below so that we know you're here. And if you have friends and family that would like to join us this evening, please share this video to them. Otherwise, you can still catch up on our session later on YouTube when the live is finished. So before we start our talk officially, let's welcome our panel again. Ms. Wansin, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Sure. So hi, I'm Wansin. My company is called People Development Consulting. So right now I'm running a job experiencing program. I was told that I will share my slides a bit later. Or yeah, you can just let me know when I can share that.
All right. Okay. I'll inform you later on. And Dr. Ivan?
Hi. So as I mentioned earlier, Ivan here from University of Southampton. I did my PhD at the University of Southampton and currently am teaching at University of Southampton, Malaysia as well. So as a PhD student, actually I've started some businesses, and I'd like to share my experience with you. Currently, I have a few projects running, and I'm also owning shareholdings and in businesses. And at the same time, I'm balancing my life teaching as a lecturer full-time. So I'd like to share my experience doing that as well to you guys.
Okay, wow. That's good to hear. So, okay, let's start. So besides then being a PhD holder and an entrepreneur, I read that both Dr. Ivan and Ms. Wansin are working on a virtual educational project. How is that? Ms. Wansin, would you like to start first? You may share your content with us.
I should start with how I was, discussing with Ivan. So we met basically last year. So I was sharing what my company does to Dr. Ivan, and then we just clicked instantly. We were like, okay, you know what? Let's just start a project together. So it's actually starting like now this week. We are guiding the students, the children, how to do coding. So those basic coding, and they are going to do it online. So the students will learn how to code an app. Yep, and then right now my syllabus is already running, so we have about 600 students nationwide, and it's amazing, like just a conversation with Dr. Ivan, and we started this project.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a very amazing experience for me as well, because we actually met at the Axiata Young CEO Development Program, which is a very amazing program. You meet a lot of wonderful people there. So Wansin was doing this education project, and that time Project Kappa was just a budding project. So the Project Kappa actually started in YCLE, so the Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative. So I got a micro grant, right? And then Brian, who's from UTM, he said, he wanted to, work this project out. So during the summer, we kind of like worked together. We got the framework, we got the minimum viable product. So what is this product? It's actually an augmented reality mobile app, right? That allows people to view sensor data. So we have things like pollution sensors. We feed this data to your phone, and then we kind of like show the data as this cute animated character. We call it Kappa, right? And when it's polluted, then Kappa will be sick. So the idea behind it is this. Yeah. So we have not thought about how are we going to market this. So once it has Project Kappa installed, I can't show to you because I'm actually using my phone to actually do this live stream. So yeah, then when I met Wansi was telling me, she's doing this project where she has access to all these kids. She's trying to teach the kids, different skills, and programming is one of the skills that she's looking into. So when I heard about that, we're like, hey,
like,
this is hey, there's a business opportunity there. So to be frank, like Project Kappa has not been like fully commercialized yet, because it's pretty much still a kind of like project, right? So we're trying to test out with Wansin to see how this would benefit the kids, and whether they will form, the sort of empathy that we hope they would form with the environment through the animated characters. Yeah.
So how my team support Dr. Ivan is that instead of having it like a physical program, we made it online. So we help Dr. Ivan to tune the modules, because we know how we can speak better with the children. So we tune it in a way that children can understand. So Dr. Ivan managed to make the whole module online, which is really, really amazing.
Yep.
I see. So around when will you launch the Kappa, the apps actually? Roughly when will we get it?
Actually, it's launched within that student group, you see. So we kind of we launched it last week with one student, but it's how it works is this: the students will start with building the sensors first. So we teach them step by step. Okay, this is a sensor. These are the electronics that you need. So they are empowered to build their own sensors, and then we teach them how to interface the sensor together with the app. So we have the pre-built app that we give to them to play with, and then we teach them how to build a simpler version of that app without the characters, without the animated characters, but they can just put like 2D images of a smiling character and crying character. Of course, they are not up to a level where they can do 3D modeling yet, but we teach them how to make a simpler version by using a MIT App Inventor. So they can come up with their version of Project Kappa at the end of the whole session. Yeah.
Yes, okay, got it. So Ms. Wansi, would you like to share your slides with us?
Yes.
On the PD.
Share now.
Yes.
Maybe I think maybe if I show you slides, you will understand a bit better. Okay, so what I do is, my program is called AI Talent. So it's a job experiencing program. So I connect students aged 7 to 17 to corporate companies. So what they do, right? They learn about marketing, character design from animation company. They learn about environment from biodegradable Kappa, which is what we are doing. They learn how to do coding. We have law firm joining us, and also fashion and MC. So every 2 to 3 months, they are being exposed in one industry, because right now, if you ask, someone like a children, right, a child, you ask them, okay, so, what are you good at? Or even which industry or which career you want to do. Without actually trying, they might not know what they are capable of, what they are good at. But for here, every 2 to 3 months, they try a project, and it's just 1 hour a week. So then they can find, what is it that they are good at. So right now, I have across Malaysia, I have about 150 coaches, even in Sabah, Sarawak, Johor, Penang, we have across the whole Malaysia. We have 35 companies collaborating with us. So, I mean, this is someone, maybe, you know, students might want to know, okay, so when you start this business, where is your income source? So it's very simple. I collaborate with this industrial expert. So there's not a lot of monetary involved. So they give us a project where students can understand and they can be involved in that business process. Then we will go through our AI talent platform to receive the feedback from this expert. So our income source is very simple. Our coach will bring this program and teach the students. So we collect 30% from the coach and then they earn the other 70%. So what we want to do here is also to allow these teachers, these coaches to earn extra income. So they can do it flexible. 4 hours a week, they can earn up to 2K a month. These are all the corporates that are collaborating with me. I have architect as well. I have a restaurant. So the next year, the students will do like a restaurant takeover. So they'll go to a restaurant, and then there'll be the waiter, there'll be the cashier. So they'll be experiencing a lunch, a restaurant takeover. We also have Start Malaysia, which was Ivan's friend. So they learn about business, entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. So these are the skills that we are actually teaching them. So this will be my last slide. If you are interested, you can actually, you know, take a snapshot of this. I think this is quite important because this is not only about children, this is also about ourselves. So we need all these skills in a post-coronavirus world. So you can search in Forbes. So we are teaching the students coding, emotional intelligence, leadership, critical thinking, creativity, adaptability, data literacy, and also tech savviness. So all these skills are the things that we are teaching our future generation now. So yeah, that's it for my slides.
Yes, it is actually a very great initiative, I believe, because most of the children nowadays, they are quite lost when it comes to, you know, choosing their career. I believe with this platform, you know, with like coding and stuff, I think they can like slowly find what they are really. So thank you, Ms. Wan Sing.
Thanks, Ping.
All right, so Dr. Ivan, there's a video that you would like to share with our audience, is it?
Yeah, sure. Can you just play the video really quickly?
Okay, one moment.
Yeah. So this is a video that we took when we did our first Project Kappa launch. So this was a proof of concept, we call it. And what happened is what we did with Wansin basically, but we compressed it into one single day. And then we did it with a few students here from Johor. So I think you can play it.
Right.
So that's Brian, basically, one of my co-founders. I think you may want to, you know, reduce the quality slightly, yeah, so that it's smoother. Okay. So we organize environmental talks as well. So with Eco Nights. So the aim was to actually raise awareness on, you know, environmental issues that are happening. And it so happened that during that time, there was the Sungai Kim Kim incident. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. I think around last year, where there's pollution happening at Sungai Kim Kim, and around the passing area in Johor, there's a lot of people, you know, affected. Their lives are affected by this pollution. So we thought, hey, this is a good time for us to, you know, launch and kind of like raise awareness for this sort of pollution. So that was our first prototype. We got, you know, students coming in to test. We call it the test play, right? And that's the app actually. You can see you can play, and there are games, you know, incorporated inside the app itself for them to earn virtual coins. So during that time, we were just testing out a prototype, and we are trying to see whether this would work as an educational platform, both to get students excited about, you know, coding and environment, because there's a lot, like if you talk about learning about coding, right? There's a lot of people out there doing it already, and they're doing for profit. So Project Kappa, at this moment, we are not a company, right? We're kind of like an initiative at this point to try and educate people, yeah, about this environmental issues. So this project basically is based in Johor between Brian, which is in UTM, and myself. I'm based in Southampton. So we kind of like work together here and there and try to tweak our program. So this was the initial one. So this was slightly more experimental. It's more physical. We get the students to actually build the sensor, right? But for since we realized that if it's virtual, it's a lot harder to get the students to build from scratch. So we actually have this sensor modules that we made, and we did that in partnership with CEDI Studio from China. So we get them to sponsor, I think, about 50 sets of this sensor, and then we send it over to Miss Wansin, and then Wansin then distribute to all her kids basically, and send to them, let them experience it, and then we wrote kind of like a pack, tutorial pack. Yeah. So I think, yeah, that's I think you can stop the video because we cannot hear the sound, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But basically, that's the gist of it. We want a project-based learning. We want a project-based learning experience for the students, but at the same time, we want to instill environmental awareness into this project, so that when the students are actually building, they are actually having fun. They do not forget about the environment.
So I think Peng, maybe I also explain it this way because for every project that we do, there's a main objective behind. So it's not just about, okay, so you learn coding, but coding for what, right? So this is like, okay, we code for environment. We learn COVID virus to prevent diseases. So there is an objective behind. So it's not just it's just a coding project. No, we make sure that it has a meaning behind, so that the students, they have a goal to look towards.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So another question is that the project-based learning (PBL) that is under Ms. Wansing initiative believes that there are 4 crucial elements to be trained among children aged to 7 to 17, like you mentioned earlier. So could you tell us more about the 4 elements?
Yes, I think I've shared the 8 skill set just now.
Oh, so that is the one that updated one, is it?
Correct. So
from 4 to 8.
Yeah. So those 8 skills are the ones which you can search it on Forbes. What is it that you should prepare yourself in terms of post-coronavirus world? So yes, I tweaked it after we noticed that.
Okay.
After COVID issue, yes.
Okay. And how did you actually manage to secure your funding to kickstart your business and the business model canvas that you're holding through?
I have to say, I I did not actually have any funding. The reason is because we noticed that if we get funds, then we will be tied up. So we actually bootstrap. Like for the, I think almost like first 5 months, I did not pay myself. So after that 5 months, we managed to get profit. So then we decide that, okay, now we should start paying. So from then onwards, we made profit after 5 to 6 months. Then I started paying myself monthly until now. So basically bootstrap from the start.
I see. Okay. So Dr. Ivan, may I know what is your hope in education, and would you tell us more about the goals, especially on the platform that you're working on?
Right. My hope for the education is actually to prepare the next generation for what's coming in the future. So I remember back in my days, right? Everyone knows how to use computer, but learning to code was actually, an advantage. So I had this advantage when I was a kid, and during my time when I was a primary school student, only the top few are chosen to go for like the robotics courses, right? And I feel like it's not very accessible. And going through that, I feel like in my life, I've gained kind of like an unfair advantage, right? Because I know coding, And whenever there's a coding-based competition, the teacher wants to send someone, I'll be the one chosen. So I don't want this sort of thing, but that's why we felt like in this time, right, everyone should learn coding. Everyone should learn coding. It's not just, you know, the few guys handpicked by the students, but we need to make it in such a way that every student, no matter which school you study, whether it's government school or private school, whatever school you go to, you learn coding at a young age. That's what I hope to see, because in, say, 5 years' time, right, doing coding would be as common as using Microsoft Windows. You know, back in our parents' days, if you learn how to use Microsoft Windows, you are at an advantage. But during my days, during I think Wantin's days as well, right, knowing Microsoft Windows is something that everyone needs to know. So that's where coding is a new thing, and where anyone who knows coding, you're at an advantage. So we've come to a time where if you don't know coding, right, there's a chance that you might fall behind. So we don't want Malaysia to fall behind. We want Malaysia to be at the forefront. So this is why, you know, I've been pushing this, you know, both with the university. We've been going out giving workshops in the name of the university, and then with Project Kappa as well. I'm trying to instill this sort of education system, so that parents would see why is it so important to let their kids start doing this young. Yeah. So that is my hope. So my goal is actually, you know, in a few years' time, to see Malaysia, you know, the next generation of Malaysians come out and bring Malaysia to the forefront of technology. Yeah.
That's really inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ivan. I love the idea of business actually, and how people make something commercialized, and how their effort and the flowing of great ideas, you know. And personally, I have my own delivery business as well. So I would like to ask for your opinion, Dr. Ivan, on your opinions towards young people who are having their business.
Okay. So for me, I actually started when I was in the UK. So when I was a student, I was trying to earn some extra pocket money. So I started registering. So I did register in the UK, and I started an eBay account. So trying to sell things online. But back then I have zero knowledge in business, right? I was an engineer, I was doing nanotechnology. That was what I did best, you know, designing sensors, designing electronics. But I decided to see, you know, what sort of thing would people buy. So one of the mistakes I made was not budgeting correctly. So that's a mistake that a lot of student entrepreneurs tend to do. So I bought a lot of phone cases from China. That time was the launch of, I think, iPhone 6 or iPhone 7, I can't remember. But there was a new iPhone launching. So I thought, hey, it's a good business opportunity, because something that I get for 2 ringgits, I can sell it for £2, which is about 10 ringgits, and it will still be cheap, right? Because they do not know where to source for this stock. So I tried doing that, but my mistake was not calculating the import duty to the UK, right? There was a 20% import duty, and I did not account for the stock that I could not sell out. So in the end, after taking so much time, you know, surveying and doing this, I earned about 100 ringgit. That's about £20. And I was hoping for more, but you know, £20 is enough just for a nice meal in the UK, you know, just one meal and that money is gone. So yeah, I learned my lesson there. So throughout that, I started doing things differently, right? And when I came back, when I was doing like lecturing, I have friends who comes to me, like they have ideas, they say, but they do not know where to start. So that's why I come in. I tell them, right, if you want to start a business, this is what you do, right? This is what you do. So one of my friends was actually, you know, his dad owns a jewelry business, and he tell me, hey, I want to take over my dad's business, but I don't want to sit in the store every day, you know, waiting for customers to come and everything. that's the point where I said, yeah, why not let me help you, right? So we digitized his business. We introduced a new concept. So instead of using diamond, we use something called moissanite. Moissanite is like the second hardest stone on the planet. So I introduced that to him. That's a new technology. In fact, the patent has just expired, I think 2 years back. So now more people can use this technology to create this stone. So I got the supply chain for him. I get everything like set up for him, right, in a digital business. Mind you, I was still doing my PhD at that time. So in return, you know, I get shareholding. So I do this for shareholding, you see. So the more his business grow, right, the more the more worth the share that I hold in his business. So that's how I juggle on, because I don't have that much time to sit there and do the business. So you come up with a system. So if you want to like grow your business, always come up with a system that is scalable. Try and scale the business. Another example is a friend of mine who lost his job. So I saw in the chat someone mentioned about job loss. Actually, over to Johor. So my friend, he was a chef actually in a Western restaurant. He's also a Sarawakian. Came over here, but unfortunately, he lost his job because of the COVID-19, and you know he's been struggling to make ends meet. Then he started a food delivery business, and he's saying, you know, please help me share. And there's one time he sent me, you know, his flyer and said, hey Ivan, can you help me to like distribute this to your friends, because I really need the business coming in. And I said, hey bro, I may not be able to like fund your business, but there's something I can do for you. So started a Facebook page, started Instagram ads, started doing optimized social media campaigns for him, right? We did everything like very classy. So in just 1 or 2 months time, right, he gave me a call. I thought he's gonna tell me, hey, can you do more ads for me? That's what I thought he wanted to tell me. But when he called me, he said, Ivan, stop the ads, stop it. I'm at full capacity now. I cannot take any more orders. So yeah, this is the power of social media and the power of digital literacy. You see, if you know how to digitize something, you get access to a lot more customer base that you have not seen before. Yeah, so that's what I do. So back to like juggling time between business and academics. I usually don't spend too much time in business. So what I do is I spend maybe a weekend. We call it a sprint, right? You spend a short amount of time, highly concentrated amount of time, buy a lot of coffee, and then think and brainstorm about ideas, fill in a business model canvas. If it works, if it doesn't work, go back and tweak. I'm not sure how comfortable you guys are with business model canvas. Something that I learned from Axiata as well. I find that really helpful, you know, putting these things into business model and then showing it to someone more experienced than yourself. Because people like me, I'm young. I do not know the business. In fact, yeah, even though I say, yes, I have shareholdings in companies and things like that, the companies are young, right? So I myself, even though I have a PhD, I'm a fresh PhD graduate. I'm also young. So I consult someone older than me, all right? And try to ask them for their opinions. Do you think this would work? If it doesn't work, you know, why wouldn't it work? So that's how I work. So once I got the system ready, I implement the system, and then I work as an academic, right? So I spend most of my time designing, trying to inspire students and things like that. But whenever an idea catches my attention, I'll sit down and I'll start to think about, you know, what sort of system we can put in place to make this idea a reality. Yeah.
So the most important part for a student is still discipline, right?
Self-discipline. Yeah.
Self-discipline.
Yeah.
And not to forget to jot down our ideas when we had our light bulb moment.
Yeah, definitely. If you miss that idea, right, it's lost, lost in time. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I realized that a lot of us actually start to join this delivery business, and yeah, the people of joining is really escalating. I can see from Facebook, a lot of people like they ask, would you like to buy any food or home cooked food? So I would like to seek some tips from you. How do you actually help your friend in advertising his business?
Okay, so firstly, I see his demographics up. So for him, he's actually doing Western food, right? So we know for a fact that, for Western food, mostly is a slightly more high end. So I started to experiment. I targeted, I think, around UTM area, student areas, Iskandar Putri, right? Putri Harbour, and then slightly more towards the Johor city center area. Then we realized that quite contrary to what we believe, the city center area actually gathers more attention, right? More people click into it and more people start clicking. So then we started to tweak the ads, tweak how the ads looks. So how we do this, we use like free tools. So I taught him how to use Canva, right? So we were using like Canva, a lot of like nice pictures and stuff. So so he has a very old phone. He was a very modest guy, a very old, nice. So I lent him one of my older phones, OnePlus. So I tell him, pictures everything, right? People cannot taste your food, but they can see your food, right? So he started changing the angle that he takes the pictures and started putting some decoration. And with that, right, the food started selling. And the real kick comes when companies buy from him. So offices start to get, what's it called? Catering from him. That's where the whole business starts to like kick off. Because with that, you have a steady stream of income. And then the choice of food need not be a lot. You don't need to do a lot of different things. You just follow a system. You have orders of like 30 packs of rice. You prepare 30 packs of chicken rice, right? For his case, it was like he's doing something different as salted egg chicken rice, which is an innovation, I think. Not a lot of people sell that sort of food. So that is how. So you find what's different from your competitor. That's one thing. Second thing, you have to market it well. No matter your food is, okay, I won't say no matter your food is nice or not, but if your food is nice, but your picture is not nice, people are not going to buy from you.
Yes,
right?
true.
So you're not going to gather attention. So picture is very, very important. The graphics, the content that you show in your page is important. And finally, with ads, we start broad, spray everywhere first, right? And then you start to target down the area that actually gives you more response. Yeah, that way you can optimize your ad spending so that you don't keep throwing a lot of cash and not getting the return on investment. Yeah.
Yes, true. That's true. That's some really good tips, because although I believe if your product is really good in quality or really stand out from the rest, marketing is still very important when it comes to advertising.
Correct. Yeah.
So we have a question from the Community Engagement Chair of UUM, and Suwanit Karen. With some 600,000 people losing jobs due to the recent outbreak, and about 60% of them do not hold a degree, would this program be offered to them as a form of upskilling? So may I ask Ms. Swan Singh to answer his question?
Yep. So I think two ways to answer your question. So the first one is I do have a lot of fresh grads actually becoming a coach to teach the younger children, so 7 to 17. For us, our company, we do sponsor some underprivileged children as well. So when they join our program, we sponsor them. At the same time, we are actually as well looking for corporate sponsors so they can support all these underprivileged children or even rural area children to be in par and on par with the urban area children. So yes, we do offer it to some of these kids. Yes.
Yes, the program is definitely kill two birds with one stone, I see. Okay, so there's an article, The Rise of Cyborgs, written by Dr. Ivan, which isn't talking about cyborgs itself, but reflects people in this generation having shorter attention spans because we can get information, tons of information at our fingertips. So what are the few things that we educators should be aware when we are teaching in the generation in such digital world?
Yeah,
Dr. Ivan?
so a few things that as educator you need to catch is that students tend to look at their phones when they find you boring. So if you ask me, how do you get their attention? Make the lecture less boring. So I realized again that writing too much, equations, everything would make the students bored easily. So one way we can tackle this is to do classroom activities. Now, I say this because, again, the class that I teach is quite small. Obviously, compared to UM has a large cohort of students. But what I usually do is I encourage students to join in. So I'll give them an exercise. So halfway in the lecture, there'll be a fun exercise where they get into groups, where they discuss, or there'll be an activity where they'll have to, come up with creative application of what they have learned, right? So this is how I get their attention. But the other thing that we need to be aware of is misinformation, right? So students have access to tons of information at their fingertips, but not all of them may be correct. Now, in the case of programming, let me just give an example. Programming, I teach programming. So a lot of times when the students bump into a problem or when they get stuck, they just go to Stack Overflow and search, right? And sometimes when you're marking and you see, hey, when you're marking kind of like the project, this snippet of code, right, just felt wrong. And then you do a check. Oh, okay, yeah, they got this idea from Stack Overflow, things like that. So sometimes when they get ideas from Stack Overflow, it may not be the correct idea, you see, because the people who are answering on those sort of platform are also normal people. Okay, there could be answers which are wrong. So you need to emphasize on the student about the research skills. Teach them how to vet information instead of just looking at it and taking it at face value, right? And this, again, I'm not sure, you guys are students, sometimes I bet you, sometimes you will do that, right? You don't want to take the effort to read deeper. You read on a review paper. Yeah, someone said this. Right, fine, he supports my statement. Let's just put it in. So that could sometimes lead you to the wrong conclusion. So I always try to teach my students, I'm not sure how much they absorb, but I try to bring this to them. I say, whenever you do your check online, don't trust it 100%, right? Be slightly more skeptical. So that's one thing. So research skill needs to be improved, and they need to be aware of the amount of misinformation that is easily accessible online. And finally, digital literacy. So at one point, I'm saying about the students who search, but they're not sure where are the correct answers. At the other point, you have students who come to you asking, how do I do this? When it's just a Google search away, So those skills are another important skill that you need to teach to this group of students. So you have one group, the cyborgs, right? I call them the cyborgs. They are well integrated with the web. Anything they don't ask you, they go ask the web, right? Those sort of people, they are good in a sense, but they are also dangerous. You have to keep them in check. You have to make sure what they get is correct. So you have the others who are, stubbornly human, we call them. They refuse to check. They prefer to ask. So these sort of people are good, but you also have to teach them how and where to get the information, or else you would quickly be overwhelmed by them. You will get a whole group of students asking why they did this wrong, or they will show you a certain code. They say, this doesn't work. Why? Right? So you have to point them to the right direction. You have to teach them how to filter and how to sort out the correct information. Yeah, so that is what we as educators should be aware of in this current age.
I actually very much agree with Dr. Ivan. I'm planning what we call, how do you identify fake news for the children? Because right now, how do you, identify which one is real news, which one is fake news? And it's very important for the younger generation to really identify that. I'm actually looking for collaborators to work on that project as well. And right now, like what Ivan was talking about, data literacy, so that it's something that we are incorporating as well. So instead of, they ask the teachers, okay, so what does coding mean, right? In another way, our coach is like, okay, so can you Google it? Yeah, okay, if you can, then Google it. So you do your own research. You don't need to ask teacher anymore. I'm not your teacher, I'm your coach.
Yes.
So you go and figure it out.
Yes, Google is everything. As like we will also search on Google, on the research and articles and stuff. But yes, it's very important for us to filter out what is really accurate or it's what is wrong also. So thank you to our panel, Ms. Wan Sing and Dr. Ivan, for your wonderful sharing session. As a representative of Enactus UM, allow me to share the project that we've been doing, and I hope to seek some advice from the both of you. And one moment, I'll open the slides. Okay. So under Enactus UM, we have 3 ongoing projects. And one of it is VE project, the one that I'm in. It's volunteering for education. So as you may not know, Enactus UM, Enactus especially, is actually we are having the program that will help people, but which is also related to entrepreneurship. So move on, what is VE? So VE, we provide a platform for students to experience business through hands-on experience. And also we will provide mentorship and coaching. And with that, our VE members will do it to facilitate students' learning process. And we also will provide a conducive learning environment where students can develop their soft skills and put their theoretical knowledge into practice. And we will also provide initial capital, or we call it loan, for students to execute their business plan. And at the same time, we will also provide the VE Business Planner. It is actually a booklet for our students to follow step by step on how to execute their business. So why do we see this as an opportunity? Because we feel that our students, the future leaders, they are our competent human capital to fuel economic growth. And as you can see from the graph, we realize that Malaysia has a relatively lower percentage of financial literacy compared to other developed countries. So in order for us to march towards to become a developed country, we need to improve our students, the younger generation's financial literacy. And also we want to brush up these students on their entrepreneurial skills to compete. So before we move on to the execution program, we actually have another program, which is the summer camp. So this summer camp is to allow us to articulate students' knowledge and skills about business. And we will also expose them to outdoor education experience. So this is more like a flexible and casual program. And they will have fun through team building activities. And we also encourage peer interactions as we invite students from different schools in the state of Kedah and Perlis. So this camp lasts for 3 days and 2 nights. We invited a total of 4 buddies per school. And this is the summer camp, the first summer camp that we had. Yes, the second summer camp. So this summer camp was in 2019, the summer camp 2.0. So we had total of 25 students from 6 schools. What we have held activities that we held was critical thinking activity, entrepreneurial talk by the co-founder of Flower Crown, Miss Aifa, technology-based activity, cupcake workshop, and also business presentation. So what I would like to highlight here is the cupcake workshop. So we have this cupcake session where students make their own cupcakes and they will sell them to our Enactus, to our UUM students. So we will teach them how to approach their potential customers, and after that, they will present their business outcome through their business, at last, the business presentation. Okay, and move on with execution. This is the part where I mentioned earlier that we provide 100 ringgit loan. So this is to allow students to initiate their business, and we will meet these students once every week for 3 hours, and it is last for 4 months. For this one, we invite 5 buddies per school. We call our students buddies, and for each team, we will have 2 mentors. Our BE will be as the facilitator, and we will provide 100 ringgit loan to per team. And business planner will be provided. And by end of the program, we will have this BE Young Entrepreneur competition. It's where students, presenting their business outcomes, the outcomes that they had throughout after 4 months time. And after that is profit sharing. So for the profit part, 2/3 of profit will go back to students, while 1/3 will go back to BE in order for us to sustain our club. And this is the first execution we had in 2019. We have 3 centers, Perlis, Chitra, and Changlun. We have 6 teams in total. So for the progress, we taught them on business planning, task delegation, product development, finance and budgeting, sales and marketing, documentation, and sales presentation. So as you can see from the bullet point, from the first until the second last, all these elements are actually included in our business planner, the booklet. So we allow our students to learn theoretical part on business also. And this is the Young Entrepreneur competition held last year. We have invited our lecturers as well to be the judges. Followed by this year, which is the execution, we had 3 centers or so, but our teams has increased to 9. But unfortunately, our program is on hold due to COVID-19 pandemic. So throughout these 4 years, we have brought in packs. We have brought in 12 institutions. We have managed to execute 45 small businesses, and also we helped them to make 280 ringgit in a week on average. So that's it for my side.
It's a really nice project. Yeah, I really like it. I mean, it's a good time to, we say we have a time to fail, right? So you can fail as young as possible. I think same as Ivan, actually started my first business when I was 14 or 16, I can't remember, selling t-shirts and those sling recycle bags. That experience gave me lots of insights on what didn't work. So on your business model canvas, so I realized that what didn't work is actually I didn't look at the customer journey. We just managed to cover back the cost. But if they have a safety net to really start a business, I think this is really good project. And maybe I can share this friend of mine as well. Even though I think COVID-19, even though if it's COVID-19, I don't think the program should stop. It still can be run because one of my friends, when he was 14, if I'm not mistaken, he started his own animation company already. So he started doing animation for clients. And even if it's a really small idea, or even if it's just a small online business, I think we shouldn't be worrying about failing because the students have a pretty good safety net. So just start any idea and don't hesitate.
How about Dr. Ivan?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if I would have this sort of training, whilst I was a student, I would have done a lot better in business. Yeah, I feel like in you guys you're really lucky to have Enactus active in the university, and this is actually a very good initiative to raise this sort of entrepreneurship awareness in the students. And the most important thing is you provide a framework. Whereas people like me who have not gone through this sort of things, we have to come up with our own framework until we join our program, our training program. Then we're like, wow,
Yeah, and then
okay,
we
so yeah, we came up with a framework through the hard way. When we see the trainer presenting this framework, we're like, hey, it looks similar, but we learn it at a very hard way after failing a few times. So I feel like, yeah, good initiative from your side.
Yeah, I believe it's it's very beneficial for the students also. Although like we have to like pause our program, but we hope to have a virtual platform for them in the future if the lockdown has been going on.
I do have a question. So who are the mentors that are guiding these students?
It's actually our members, the VE members.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think since you're asking me to give you feedback, I think one thing is if you can get some mentors who are either pretty well known, or even if they can do those virtual mentoring with these students, they can be entrepreneur themselves, then it will be, then it will attract a lot of students to join. They'll be like, oh, okay, this guy who started that business joined, and they're going to teach us. I think it would be very good.
All right, we'll take into consideration. And thank you, Ms. Wan Sing.
No problem.
Okay, as for now, the time is running short. So without further ado, let's open with our Q&A session that we've been waiting for. Okay, and Hema from Enactus Unit, she's asking, how do we keep students and our target audience interested in our executions based on your experience?
I think I've answered partially. Maybe Ivan, you can go first.
Right, okay. So how do we keep students interested? So I think one thing that I realized, right, is to, how to put this, instill a spirit of competitiveness within whatever activity that you do. So kind of like a gamification in a sense, right? When you have this sort of competitive spirit, sometimes the student would be interested simply because they have that will to win. So I think that maybe is one way you can do. I'm not sure like how you guys have already been doing it, but the other thing is to have constant engagement. So the engagement may not need to be big. Sometimes you have direct sessions or virtual direct sessions where you invite someone from the industry or some successful entrepreneur to sit down and just engage with the students in an informal setting. So this sort of thing helps as well, I find. Yep.
It's constantly engagement.
Yeah, I think on top of the mentor that I was mentioning to you, like so getting entrepreneurs as mentor so that they can give constant feedback to them, but also like what Ivan say, a lot of engagement, because what students are more eager to learn is that, okay, so right now I've done this and give me this feedback and I improve. So can you check again? Is this better? Okay, let me improve it again. So there's a sense of, I want to keep improving myself.
Yeah, constant feedback lah, right?
Yeah, constant feedback.
Yeah, that is very important.
And if the best is you have like a business showcase, even if it's not physical, it can be a virtual business showcase. Yeah. We get people who may be investors to come and join, and then that would excite the students even more.
It's not just like words alone.
Yeah, bring investors in, bring in business coach. Yeah.
Okay, and another question from Carmen. Ms. Wan Sing, what inspired you to come up with these amazing initiatives?
Oh, I used to teach special needs when I think a few years ago. That time I noticed that the income of the teacher and the amount of passion they put in, it just doesn't match. So I got a bit sad, right? Then I told myself, I say, you know, even though if next time I'm not the teacher, I want to create something that support the teacher. And that's the reason why I started this. Even though this program, you know, we are trying to find what is the actual potential of the children. But at the same time, I'm helping the teachers to earn an extra income. So I only collect 30% from them, and I let them earn the 70% because they deserve that. So I think the reason is because, yeah, the special needs children part.
Thank you, Ms. Swansing. Another question from Elena. Hi, VE members, mentors will be going back to uni only by next year. Do you have any idea on how this project, VE project, going on without us having to be in uni together?
Yeah, obviously virtually. So when I was doing it with Wansin, a lot of the mentoring and stuff like that, we have to do virtually. And then even the Axiata training that we were in, you know, I think Axiata training is kind of like a major version of what you are doing in BE, a lot of business simulation and stuff like that. We had to do virtually as well. Yeah, so we had like, you know, the last mentor was, I think from Post Malaysia. They actually got them to like meet us, the whole cohort virtually, and tell us, you know, what are the sort of things that we need to think about, and for us to do our business simulation. And when we're done, we did our presentation again virtually. So quite funnily, like for me, they asked me to go to Post Laju here in Johor. So, you know, I went there and do site visit instead of, you know, if the COVID-19 has not happened, all of us would have gathered in one bus, go over to KL, and then we did the site visit together. They will bring us around. But now we write into them, and then they allow us to go individually to our closest one for a site visit. And then we come back and did our reporting, which is something that you guys might be able to do it on your own. Maybe challenge them to do a business online, right? Or challenge them to create like an Instagram page. In 30 days, see who has the most followers and stuff like that. Yeah, that's something that you can think of.
And I just want to share, don't let COVID becomes like a hindrance. And I really want to share, I have 7- and 8-year-old students. And when, you know, coronavirus came, they learned how to edit video, add subtitles. They learned how to go on Zoom. They even learned how to do all the green screen, right? And come up with those animation character because of COVID. And it's like an accelerator for them to, you know, make their life like more digitalized. So I think don't let that coronavirus issue, it should be continued. It should be done virtually. Just have to figure out a way, and that itself, it's learning how to be flexible and adaptable.
Yes, I agree with you. But actually, for our project itself, we actually face some challenges where students can't be able to get their internet connections. So until now, we are still planning in having the virtual platform.
Okay, I understood that. Maybe I share a bit of experience with you. So how the student works, as in the children in my program, is that there are 5 in a team. So definitely that out of the 5, there'll be some that has internet connection problem, right? But how about the rest? They still can contact them maybe through call or through phone. But the main thing is, okay, so how do we split the job? You do this, you do this, you do this. So even though they don't have internet connection, maybe they still can create content. You know, they can write like a story. They still can do something without having internet connection. They still can come up with recipe. Maybe they just try it out at home. You know, that you don't need internet connection to do that, right? Just try it out and taste it. Just bake. So a lot of things is really using, you know, creativity. So it's about teamwork. If they cannot do without the internet connection, why don't you give them the task that they don't need that? And 7-year-old can do, I believe you all can do.
Yes, definitely. If there's a will, there's always a way. So one more questions before we end our session today from Tan Kok Sing. Hello, can I ask, due to MCO, students are forced to study online. Do you think the current way we deliver the education to the students can prepare them for the future needs of the existing or emerging professions?
Well, I feel like actually this is a good training ground to practice this for the future, because in the future I can see a lot of work will start to go remote. And in fact, when I was in UK, when you see the job posting that they were putting out, a lot of software related works, in fact, or design related works are done remotely. So instead of giving you an office, they give you a grant to start kind of like your home office, and then do your work there. And to do that, you need self-discipline and all these skills that are being trained when we are doing this MCO. But having said that, I do not see that the university and other sort of training institution moving entirely online, because I feel like if you move everything online, you start to lose the social touch. You start to lose out on the human touch, right? And obviously for me, I teach in an engineering school. There's no way for you to learn, like fully learn engineering online without going into the lab. It's like you cannot learn how to drive a car by driving a simulator.
Yes, exactly.
So I think from my side is that maybe we talk about what Bill Gates say. So he mentioned this that we are not, we cannot cope with epidemic disease, and that was I think 5 years ago that he mentioned this, and now it really happened. So let's just take this as like 2015, right? If AI comes, and as in artificial intelligence, and this is just a glimpse of what AI will may be. So it may be far worse than this, or we really have to adapt. All of us, we have to work remotely. So that may be that future world that now it's showing up. So what I wanted to say is that, of course, we still need that social connection. It can be a hybrid, maybe three students offline, 2 online, it doesn't matter. But for the kids to learn how to work from home right now is really an important skill to really guide them. Because as what Dr. Ivan was mentioning, you need a lot of discipline. You need to know how to engage with other people, even if it's online. You need to work creatively. You can't meet physically, so what else you can do? So those skills are really good for them to learn right now. Okay, I think Ivan is coming back.
Dr. Ivan's having. Okay, but anyway, thank you, Ms. Wan Sing. As now it's 4 o'clock, we have to end our session for today.
Yep,
so
sorry.
For the rest of you, don't worry, Dr. Ivan. Okay, so for the rest of you, if you have any questions or inquiries, do not hesitate to send them through us, through Enactus UUM email. So thank you to our panel. Thank you, Ms. Wan Sing, and thank you, Dr. Ivan, for your time.
All right, thank you for inviting us. It's a really good pleasure to be here with you guys and speaking to you guys. Sorry so much for the small technical issue. Let me explain. I was using my phone because my laptop camera was not working. So apparently Zoom is taking a lot of resources on the phone and it overheated. So temperature, and it decided to restart itself.
Okay, no worries, Dr. Ivan.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
really
much.
Thank you for having that VE program. I think is a really, really good initiative.
Thank you, Ms. Wan Sing. And also thank you to our audience. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So you may follow us on our social media on Facebook or Instagram, Enactus UUM, to get more follow-up and on our activities and our webinar.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Ms. Wan Sing.
Thank
you, Dr. Ivan.
Good
All
job.
right. See you, everyone. Bye.
See you.
Are we going to take photo? No?
Oh, photo. Oh my gosh. Wait. My phone just restarted. Let's see if I can join with my camera on. Just really quickly. Group photo. So meaning everyone turn on their camera, right?
That's the norm, Ivan. The new norm.
He needs like an ice patch on the phone. Okay, he's coming.
right. So
Yeah.
1, okay, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.